Greetings YouTube, it's Wednesday and I've actually got a list of things I want to talk about. Firstly, I did say that I didn't want to have to grind the end of the shaft, missus, but I had to because there's something impeding this on the inside. I hit it with this homemade sanding device that I've got because I don't have a Dremel or a die grinder, but also as well, one advantage of it now is that we'll be able to clearly see the markings when I make them. So that was the first thing. The other thing I want to talk about is the actual position of the blades, which are in the middle at the moment, but ideally I'm just going to put some WD-40 on this. You can see from this angle how tight it actually is. So that is one super snug fit, both sides. I'm just going to try and get it down to here. Actually, we need another collar on here first, so I'm just going to see if I can find one. Also, I'm just going to find a couple of bolts to stick in the bearings. Yeah, just the front and back ones will do for now. This is the bucket of stuff that came off the other turbine. I don't know if I showed you it. They'll be going on this one for sure. I don't know where, but we'll find somewhere. Right, I've only got this really rusty one, but it doesn't actually matter because it's just being used as a spacer. I have got this really awesome new wire brush for my Epic drill because my other drill broke, didn't it? And this is a life changer for cleaning bits of metal. Like having your own wheel, so I'll give it a quick hit with that. It's a bit more presentable. Don't know if you can see the marks from the shaft, on the shaft, where something must have been catching. Just got to get that all the way down. So that sits on there purely to act as a spacer, but I will stick a bolt in it. Actually, while we're doing stuff super properly, I'm going to mark that up and then I'll drill the 8mm hole, so we'll have another stop to stop it move. So that'll theoretically stop the whole thing shifting that way, which would obviously then take the chain out of alignment, which would then cock everything up. And that one will stop it going randomly going the other way, which it wouldn't, but you know, that's what it's for. So yeah, I'm going to drill that hole now. There you can see a nice clean punch mark hole right in the right place. So that's a 1.5mm hole to get the drill bit started. I'll be using this Bosch Pointec drill bit, which are really good and they're nice and steady. Whereas if you get the Milwaukee Shockwave drill bits, they're a bit more intense to use. So I'll be cutting the 8mm hole with that, and I'll be using this all the time. Every time if you drill, whack this on, your drill bits will last 5 times as well. Sweet! And there's the beautiful hole, my friends. I thought I'd show it to you dirtied up and then I'll give it a clean. Let's get a few thumbs up for that. For homemade precision. You can clearly see the rim and the centre. Now we've got to get this bad boy over and it won't want to comply. I'm just going to get a grinder because that drilling has left a slight bit sticking over. And as we're in minimal territory, we don't want to mess things up. Now that's on, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the grinder, and I'm going to, you can see where I've made individual lines. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do that again. So you start at a set point. You start at a set point and then just move along with the grinder and keep turning it round, just to take a tiny bit more off so that the blade hub will go on without giving us too much grief. Sweet! I've been using these instead of flap discs because they're so much cheaper. I think there's, so you can get 10 for like a tenner with the hardware thing in the middle, so yeah, that's good. Looking good, looking good. This should go on a little bit easier now. There it is, sweet as a nut. Literally. Sweet! Looks pretty medieval, doesn't it? Anyway, that was a total success, because now that can be moved up and down, but it's still super tight. Still super tight. That will rust quickly though. That's not something I have to deal with at this moment, but that will have to be dealt with. What I wanted to talk about is the position of the blades. I'm wondering if I can get away with having them on the back of this to bring them closer. Here's what we got. The closer you have the blades to the body of the turbine, seems to run better. If you have them forward here, every time I've tried running them like that on previous turbines, it's caused more wobble, a lot more wobble. And so the idea is really they get slammed down there. But what I'm going to do, and the whole point of what I wanted to say, is I'm going to make two sets of holes so I can have them in either position. So we can have them in that position if we want, or we can have them in that position, which will mean we'll have a hole behind that and a hole there, and then we'll have to do the other two holes. We'll have to do the other two holes, which will be one for right underneath there, and then one there. There's two methods I could do to mark the holes. One, which seems to work perfectly, is to just stick a bolt in there, like that, crank it all the way down, and you'll actually be left with an imprint. So I'm just going to do that now for both the first set, and then I'll show you the imprint. I'm just going to show you this. That's the indentation that leaves an indentation, if that makes sense. But it will not work with, I had a used bolt and I thought, oh, I'll use this, but it just won't leave the same impression. So yeah, brand new bolt, just a trick. So that should have done it. I'm going to leave it 5 minutes. I'm going to have a cup of tea. When we come back, take the bolts off, and there'll be a nice round impression which will enable us to line it up perfectly. Sweet!